Well, good morning, everyone. Today, I would like to share some information with you all about the Christian community known as the Mennonites. More specifically, I would like to share some information relating to their contribution to the anti-slavery movement. Since the dawn of civilization, humans have had a desire to be independent. That's understandable. However, on the other hand, their desire to be independent has not necessarily led them to feel that it is important for others to be independent. So, throughout history, humans have had a desire to be free while at the same time desiring to keep others enslaved. There were, of course, pockets of resistance against slavery throughout history. But for the most part, slavery remained a part of everyday life in the world until the 17th or 18th century, when some Christians, known as Mennonites and Quakers, along with some pietists, decided to do something about it. They began opposing slavery. Those who engaged in slavery felt that it was the only way for them to live and thrive. However, the group of Christians who had been experiencing hardship, and that particular group being the Mennonites, who were persecuted throughout their existence from the Middle Ages up until modern times, recognized that slavery was not right. Some research on these people came to show that these individuals believed firmly in the Bible. And not only did they believe in the Bible, they decided to stand on what they believed in the Bible. Unlike, unfortunately, many other Christian groups or groups that claim to be Christian who spoke of Jesus and love and brotherhood, but when it came to Africans and those who they deemed to be lower than themselves, their words proved to be contrary to what their cherished book stated. On the other hand, the individuals referred to as Mennonites, for the most part, not only spoke about loving people and not harming people, but they showed it in their actions. And it has been stated that the Mennonites were influenced by the Quakers. Elsewhere, it was discovered that there was some influence upon the Quakers by the Mennonites, possibly the Pietists. Either way, the bottom line is these particular people that lived in Pennsylvania, in the Lancaster area, and Philadelphia and some other places actually stood up and petitioned against slavery before others began doing so. Now, some might say, well, why isn't this known in history? Why isn't this spoken of more often? Well, that's a good question. Why aren't a lot of things in history spoken of more often? But we're going to engage in it today for this short period of time that we have, and hopefully what is being said will facilitate a further interest where we can look into this more so at a later date. By 1865, the United States had become quite divided over the issue of slavery. The southern states broke away from the northern states for the most part, and a civil war ensued. The Mennonites, however, did not want to be involved in the war, but they were caught in the middle. So some of them opted to pay a militia or military tax to avoid being involved in the war. Some of them decided that, well, if we have to do something, we're going to have others to serve for us. Either way, it didn't work out. And there were some Mennonites who were disheartened by the fact that they had sent others to war and people lost their lives either way. So while stating that they were doing no harm, unfortunately, at some point, harm was done. But despite their imperfections, as all humans have imperfections, for the most part, they oppose the war by not participating because it was their firm belief that they should not bear arms, should not engage in violence, should not harm anyone, and of course, should not enslave anyone, which they understood, which others should have understood also, was an injustice and was contrary to the teachings of the sacred book that these individuals and others who claim to be Christian supposedly believed in. Well, they showed the world that they believed in nonviolence. They were against bearing arms. They were not supportive of promoting or being a part of the war, nor promoting slavery. And after the war, and even now, or should I say, when the 20th century came into existence, these individuals or this community of people referred to as Mennonites had an institution of higher learning, which they allowed African Americans to take part in by opening the doors to their school. This was something that was largely unheard of in the southern states. It is my hope that something that was said would in fact encourage you to do more reading on the contributions of the Mennonites and to become more interested in the history that has helped to shape this United States and the world. Thank you for allowing me to share.